Welcome to the first Tech Talk of your day. This one is called The Day in the Life of Netflix Video Streaming, and TY will be presenting it. So everybody welcome her.
Yay. Thanks everyone for coming. I know you have a choice of 2 Tech Talks, so I'm so excited you choose mine. So I'm Huang. I go by TY, which is my initials. And today I'm going to talk about how video streaming works. And we also have Jessica from Netflix here. So if you have questions afterwards, she's also another good person to go ask questions. But anyway, so before I start, let me just take a quick poll. I assume everyone have streamed something on the internet, either on Netflix, or Hulu, or Amazon. It doesn't really matter. So, great. So, have you ever wondered, just asking, when you are playing, clicking on that play button, what happened behind the scene? So, is that everything is there anything actually needs to happen before you click that play button? Are you simply just downloading the whole video onto your computer and play from there? What exactly happened? So that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. Obviously, someone needs to shoot that video and produce it, which I won't talk about. But afterwards, we will obviously need to encode that video, deploy it onto the internet, and then play it when people click on the play button. So it's actually a complex pipeline. So what I'm going to do in the following talk is to go through each stage and talk about what happens in each stage. Obviously, I won't be able to touch into a lot of details because it's a 30-minute talk, but at least you will have an overview idea of what's going on for the pipeline. So first of all, how is encoding being done at Netflix? Even though my background is actually computer networks, but after coming to Netflix, I realized encoding matters a lot. And that is because encoding is cramping the bits to represent the video quality, right? So what does that mean? That means the encoding matters impacts your user experience a lot. So what would a good encoding system need to support? So first of all, you need to support different devices that ranges from your phone, your computer, your TV in the home, right? So what that means is that we need to support a big range of different resolutions and different formats. And also that the system needs to support different types of content, ranging from animation, talk show, and action movies. So why they are different in terms of how encoding needs to support them? Well, the color range in animation is different from the real life show, right? The complexity, the scene complexity in action movie is different from a talk show. So a good encoding system needs to take all those into the consideration. And finally, the encoding system needs to be able to support when player is playing at different network conditions. For example, when people are playing in a challenging condition using the 3G network, are we going to stream 4K to them? No, right? It's not going to work. So the encoding needs to support some mobile encoding, for example. But on the other hand, if people are using the college network, which usually have a great network condition, then we should be able to support high quality video to them. So the current Netflix encoding system is running in the Amazon EC2, where I'm making use of the cloud infrastructure. And it's a highly parallelized system. In our first generation of the encoding system, it's running inside our data center. And the encoding time is like 24 hours. Nowadays, by using the EC2 and also parallelize a lot of things, we can down to a couple of hours. And encoding time actually matters to Netflix because a lot of times we are doing day after the show. So we need to make sure that the video can be encoded quickly because deploy it onto the internet still take time. All right, so for each video source, we actually produce hundreds of different video in terms of different quality level, different formats, different resolution. So the quality level we support all the way from 180p, which is on your mobile devices, all the way to 4K, which is the Ultra HD. And we actually do a lot of automated inspection and verification. Inspection is super important because you never know what exactly Hollywood will give you. For example, just my favorite example is the following. So one key difference of Netflix and linear TV is that we don't have commercial break, right? But when studio produce them, they have commercial break in mind. So what they usually distribute to the linear TV channels is these shows that have that is segmented. And between each segment, they have a blackout period. They call it commercial black, so that the linear TV channel can insert whatever advertisement they want to put in during this blackout period. So what if the Hollywood just simply happily supply us those sources with the commercial black to us? If we don't do this kind of automatic inspection and simply pipe those into our encoding pipeline, what end user will be happily watch Breaking Bad and then 5 minutes of black. What's happening, right? So garbage in, garbage out. So you have to be careful about what exactly you put into your pipeline. And that's why the automatic inspection is important. But after you finish the encoding pipeline, you also need to verify your encoded file to see whether is there anything went wrong during your encoding pipeline. So that's very important in terms of ensuring the user experience. All right, so now we have encoded files. It's time to unleash the video onto the internet. The question is, internet is a huge entity, right? So where to? The idea we have in mind is really try to push it as close as possible to the Netflix users. So in order to do that, that's actually not an easy job. In order to do that, we actually have to build our own content delivery network. When we first started our streaming business in 2008, we actually worked with a lot of third-party CDNs like Akamai, Level 3, Limelight to help us to deliver those content. But as we grow bigger and bigger, we feel like it's much easier for us to build such a network by ourselves, and I'll touch upon why that is the case. So we built our own CDN at the age of the internet, which means that inside the ISP, the internet service providers. And we provide all these content servers. So content delivery network consists of a lot of content servers. And we ship all these content servers to our ISP partners at no cost. The rationale, and we push the content from our encoding repository to the content servers early in the morning when hopefully everyone is sleeping. The rationale of this design is that it should be a win-win solution for both Netflix and our ISP partners. For Netflix, we get to place our content as close as possible to our consumers. That means the lower latency, hopefully higher quality, because the less frustration, less path you need to go through. Ideally, it's also it's a win-win solution for ISP because we push transport cost from our encoding repository to the ISP, and then ISP doesn't need to pay, and that means ISP doesn't need to pay to retrieve those contents, and they can use their own infrastructure to deliver to their customer. Yes, questions?
But you have customers everywhere.
We have customers everywhere.
So then how do you design your CDN and place your service such that it's close to?
I am going to touch upon that, and then if my presentation still doesn't answer your question, then ask me again.
Just have a question.
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure if you're aware of like the net neutrality.
I'm not going to touch upon it, given this is recorded.
Interesting though, because Netflix is very responsible in this respect, but doesn't tell anyone, because the argument against net neutrality is that Netflix uses 60% of the world's bandwidth, you know, but you're quite responsible about it, so it's not true. And it would be great if you exposed more of that to the public.
Oh, we actually publish a lot of blog posts on our website, and our VP from we call Open Connect, which is the code name for our content delivery network. He recently write up another post on our website. If you go to media.netflix.com, Ken Florence who is our VP, recently wrote out how we trying to mitigate the impact on internet core by deploying content servers globally onto thousands of locations.
Yeah, maybe you should post this on Boing Boing or something. Very aware, because people are not
right.
aware.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
So do you still use Aquaman?
We do not.
Yeah. Totally moved away.
Yeah.
Are you going to talk about that? Pivotal, I know that Netflix has a lot of contribution in Pivotal Spring Cloud.
Spring Cloud?
Spring Cloud technology.
Oh, so we cloud we use a lot. For example, I will talk about how you steer members to which servers, but the actual video bits is not delivered through cloud because as I mentioned, we need to push those content as close as possible to the user. So that means the edge of the internet, not the cloud. Yeah, but a lot of like computational intensive stuff, like data analysis, control plan, that kind of stuff still lives in, and encoding that I just talked about, still live in the cloud.
So are you using Cloud Foundry for that?
I do not know. Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I have a question in your previous slide, the encoding pipeline.
Oh, okay. Which part? This one?
This one. So, how does your pipeline, look for a single video to multiple outputs, encoded outputs?
Oh, how do we? What do you mean? So a single source, and then it will distribute to a cluster of servers, and each server would be tasked to produce different level of video quality, and each different video quality level will be stored as a separate file. And then I will later talk about the mechanism to switch between quality levels.
Okay, so it's like a single encoding pipeline, one to n usually.
Right, but then in between it's highly parallelizable.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, back to content delivery network. All right, so just as an example, assuming you are a user in Australia, we are doing most of our encoding still back in US, so our encoding repository is still in the US. Okay, now, if you are trying to stream something from Australia, you are not going all the way back to the US and stream from there. No, what happened in between is that before you actually click the play button, the day before or even months before, we actually push that content to the servers. So for example, when we launched Daredevil Season 2, which is a great show, we know when it is going to launch. We know it's a popular show. We know a lot of people in Australia will watch it. So we don't wait until people request it. We actually push it proactively before we launch to the servers in Australia. And now when the user requests to watch Daredevil, it doesn't need to go all the way back to US. You just go to the local content server inside Australia. So that reduces the traffic between Australia to US. Trans-Pacific pipeline is not especially cheap to use. And also reduce the latency between the content server to the user.
So encoding is still done only in US?
I cannot say that for the encoding team, but from my understanding, it's mostly done in US. Yeah. All right. So how do we reach ISPs? So our content server can reach ISPs in two ways. One is if the ISP have the space and the power, then we would prefer to have our server locate directly inside their facility. We call them, it's an embedded system, which is embedded inside their network. But not every ISP have the space or the power. So another option is you can just peer with us at Internet Exchange Point. And globally, we have roughly about 1,000+ peering point. So the northest point is in Greenland. The southeast point is in Chile. The only continent we are not in is Antarctica. Unless penguins want to watch Happy Feet. All right, so given that we have so many content servers, how do we know which content server our members should go to? So we use a number of metrics to calculate which one will be best serve a customer. So that would base on, obviously, first of all, which server has the content that you are requesting for. If you are requesting something very rare, we might not have pushed that content into your local server, and in that case, we might need to redirect you to somewhere else. And also, which server is the most closest to you? And then lastly, which server can deliver the best quality? That means what? That means which server has the lowest CPU load, have the lowest memory load, and etc. etc.
When you say the customer is requesting, that's when we press on play, or?
I will talk about that. All right. So for resiliency purposes, the server can go down. So when you are requesting for a video, we not only give you one, but also a list of backup servers, so that if there's anything happens during your playback session, you can actually switch away to a different server. All right, so put everything together, that will answer your question. When, for example, if you want to watch BoJack, when you click on that play button, we will try to answer this question: where should I stream this from? So we will actually go to our control plane, which is inside the AWS in Amazon, and then it will figure out based on the content availability, network proximity, and also service load to figure out which server exactly you should go to. But the story actually doesn't end there, because we also need to have another set of logic to figure out which quality you can play. That would depend on your device, which resolution your device will support, and also your local network quality. For example, are you playing on mobile? Have we seen a lot of variation on your network? What kind of quality your network is able to support? All right, and once our client-side logic determine that, and which I will talk about later in the talk, we will, assuming in this case that the client can actually support high-definition video, you will request for that, and then we will return the video to you, and then you can start happily watching BoJack.
Same client clicks on the video again.
If the same client
wants to watch the video again, so it will do again the same.
Yes,
thing?
it will go to right, because things can change, right? Server was up, now can be down, so you probably should check. Yeah.
So basically, you're doing all this in 3 to 4 seconds when you say loading, please wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Do you do anything like sort of, when Netflix presents you with a list of videos or suggested videos, do you take into account whether that content has been synced to a ISP or PR edge before you recommend videos?
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, it's purely based on taste.
Does user location matter to you at all?
Oh, location matters for that, but that is simply because of our licensing system. Studio might license a movie to a US user, but not for a person in UK, for example. Yeah, so it so depends on that. Yeah. All right. So what does the content server looks like? So there are two types of CDN servers that we provide. One is optimized for I/O, which is for popular content, and it consists of a lot of SSD. But we also supply a lot of long tail contents, so that requires a lot of storage space. So we have another type of server, which is mostly hard disk to provide a larger storage space. So just to give you a sense of how many videos each kind of server can hold. So for example, these SSD servers, they are typically 24 terabyte per server. So, and a typical high definition video is about 3 megabit per second. That's roughly the rate we encode to. And then a typical TV show is 20 minutes. That translates to about 500 megabyte per show. So that means a typical server that is optimized for I/O, not for storage, can have like 60K, which is quite a bit. How about movies? Typical movie is about 2 hours long, so that translates to 2.5 megabyte, and that means a typical server can hold about 10K movies. Yes?
So did you say you translate the videos?
We encode the video. What do you mean by translate?
Okay, I thought you said translate when you were talking about the TV show thing.
Oh, sorry, maybe I misspoke. All right, so how about the other? Yes?
I have a question about something you said previously, before that. There was something where, the AWS, the control plane is at AWS. That should be, is that also closer to the user, where the user is, or that also is?
Yeah.
It's only in the US?
Yeah, it's closer to the US, yeah. But still, AWS is only available in limited regions, so
Okay.
yeah.
So I have a question on this. So are you relying on AWS technology to make sure, or is that your technology to put the content closest?
Oh, that's our technology. We are just using the cloud infrastructure.
Only for it?
Yeah, the software is built by us. Yeah.
So the server spec which you have, it could be different than the ISP standard server spec, right?
It could be, but
So they're okay?
I mean, this is standard 1U and 4U server, right? So all we ask for is a rack, and
rack is yours?
rack is ours, and the rack spec is standard, like 1U space, 4U. These are standard server spec. So, yeah.
So physically they're your server. You're not like renting space on their infra.
And
Physically you provide the servers.
physically we ship these servers
Wow.
to.
They allow you to do that. Wow.
They allow, well, as I said, it's a win-win solution, right? Because if you have a choice not to use our servers, but that means you need to pay all the transport. For example, if you are in Australia ISP, then every time your user requests for a Netflix stream, you need to go all the way to US, and the Trans-Pacific link is not cheap.
You still use their top of rack, and you still use their perimeter security, the ISP's security in the data center.
Right, yeah. All right. Okay, sorry, I missed that. Oops, yes, here. All right, so for these type of servers, they have 10 times more storage. So roughly they hold 10 times more. So in terms of TV show, that's about 700K. For a movie show, that's about 100K. Software? What kind of? Oh, what kind of server? Oh, these are all customized design. We design our own servers, and if you go to techblog.netflix.com, we actually talk about the design process of all these, or openconnect.netflix.com. I think your better shot is openconnect.netflix.com. They list out all the hardware spec and all the revisions that we have been going through. All right. So in terms of software, yes.
So when is it that we use the storage servers and the
Right. So mostly I/O servers, is optimized for I/O. So we want to support a lot of people concurrently. So as a result, we mostly put popular content on those servers. On the storage, is more like it's for long tail contents. Yeah. All right, so the software we run on all these content servers are mostly open source software. For the operating system, we use FreeBSD. For the web server, we use Nginx. And for the routing, we use BERT. All these are open source software. And we constantly contribute back to the BSD community, for example. Our server is unique in the sense that it optimized for read, for obvious reasons, to the point that, and that's about right, to the point that our server can only do either read or write. We cannot do both at the time. So when we are pushing the content, and that's another reason why we push the content when the network is least active, because we need to take out one server at a time to do the write, and during the write they cannot serving the video. So there are lots of ongoing experiments, which is one of the reasons why we found a third-party CDN cannot suit our needs anymore. Because of this, because we constantly need to change our transport protocol, which need to optimize for IOs and a lot of things. I realize I only have 5 minutes more, so I have to pose any questions so that I can go through all the contents. All right, so these are what our content server looks like in the field. So these are the storage dense servers, and you probably cannot see clearly, but these are the IO optimized servers. And these are a closer look for the routers. Obviously, if you only have servers but don't routers, you still need a way to route through all these servers. So these are the routers that we support, and these are closer up to the server. So one of the good things, if you work on the CDN part of Netflix, you get to choose a quote to put on each server. That's just being geeky and fun. All right, so the last part, which is, okay, now we have deployed the video. But at the client side, when you are clicking on the play, your network quality is not a constant variable, right? Someone can turn on microwave in your home and your Wi-Fi suddenly sucks, or your friend is using Dropbox, for example, at your household, so your available bandwidth to you is fluctuating. So a lot of things can happen. As a result, when you are playing video, it's not like you pick up video quality and go. No, you have to constantly monitor the network and adjusting the quality as you go. All right, so how do we adapt the video quality? So the whole purpose of adapting video quality is for optimize user experience. So the first question we should ask is actually what makes a good video streaming experience? Anyone wants to guess?
No breaks.
No breaks. Yes. No interruptions. What else?
No buffering. It's the same.
It's the same. Yes. What else?
Video and audio together.
Huh?
Video and audio.
Oh, video audio sync. That's definitely.
High quality video.
High quality video. Okay. Sorry.
No ads.
No ads. Yes. Definitely no ads. Yes.
Being able to pick up where you left off if you lose your connection.
Yes. Yes, that's pretty much it. So quick start, high quality, and no interruption. Right. But the problem, as I mentioned, network condition is something keep changing. So it's very hard to predict which quality would be start quickly, would give you high quality, and no interruption. Right. So it's a very hard problem to solve, actually. So, and turns out they are actually trading off with each other. For example, if I just fix the quality for a second, and I want to download, I want to have a very low play delay. That means when I click play, I want something to play immediately. That means what? That means I can only download a tiny little bit of video and then play, right? But then what that gives you is that you don't have enough buffer reservoir for you to fight against any fluctuation in your network, and which means you have higher probability to interrupt, which we call rebuffer internally. If you want to prevent from buffer, then that means you need to download quite a bit. What that means is that you will. What that means is you will have a longer play delay, right? The same trade-off will go with other pair of metrics as well. So as a result, there are a lot of ongoing research in this area. Is one metric more important than the other? For example, maybe it's fine for us to delay a little bit, but make sure you play smoothly, or is there a personal preference? Maybe someone likes to play quickly, but someone is willing to wait and then have high quality stuff to go on. So there's a lot of researchers are investigating this area. All right, so what we can do at Netflix is, because we have a video delivery system in place, so what we can do is just collect data and then build, for example, we can build some quality of experience modeling to learn which metrics matters to a person more, and then design algorithm accordingly. Since I'm running out of time, so I'm going to jump to so in this area, there are so many questions still need to be answered. For example, how can we better design a transport protocol for video? We all know TCP is not designed for video streaming, right? In fact, as I was just chatting with some people before the talk, if you look at the research back in the 90s, all the videos are transport for UDP. The reason why we choose TCP for transport is really because firewalls is not blocking them off, and that's the majority of the internet. And if you are wanting to play the game on the internet today, TCP is your best bet. But by using TCP, that doesn't give you the best user experience. So how can we change TCP to make your experience better? How do we take into account of the encoding system interact with our adaptive streaming algorithm, right? How do you smoothly switch in between quality levels and without glitch? How can we impact on users' home setup so that making sure they can all receive the best ever streaming experience? It's a super exciting area for me personally. I feel like I can visually see exactly my research results is about, and I have real impact because a lot of users are using video streaming, not just Netflix, but a lot of other service providers in the field as well. And there are so much to do. So that's pretty much my presentation. I didn't get to go into exactly how we adapt the video quality, what's the mechanism about it, but if you have questions related to that part, please feel free to talk to me afterwards. All right, that's all. Cool.